deep dive. Today, we're stepping into a world that, well, it might seem deceptively quiet at first glance.
Hmm.
It's a place just brimming with gentle humor, really sharp observation, and a profound sense of community. We're talking about Miss Read's beloved Fairacre series,
That's right.
specifically starting with Village School, which came out way back in 1955.
A classic.
And our mission today really is to uncover the quiet magic, how these humble village tales still speak so powerfully to us today, in our fragmented modern world.
It's true. They aren't just nostalgic stories, are they?
Right.
What we're doing is taking a proper deep dive using these insightful excerpts we found titled Fairacre, a portrait of English village life. They're our guide.
Okay.
And you'll discover why these, well, seemingly simple books continue to resonate across generations, offering this idyllic yet, I think, incredibly realistic glimpse into an England shaped by seasons, traditions, and just enduring human resilience.
It really is a captivating place to visit, isn't it? Even just through the pages of a book.
Yeah.
And when we talk about Fairacre, the village itself, it feels like so much more than just a setting. It almost functions as a character in its own right.
It absolutely does,
Yeah.
Fairacre. It's this small fictional village tucked away in the south of England.
Right.
A composite, actually, of real places near Newbury, where the author, Dora Saint, she actually taught there.
Ah, interesting.
And what strikes you reading the sources is how profoundly the physical setting, the rolling countryside, ancient hedgerows, those footpaths, the thatched cottages, it all becomes so central, almost a living presence.
Yeah, I think what makes it feel so alive is how the village's entire rhythm, it isn't dictated by clocks or schedules, but by nature itself.
Exactly.
We read about planting and harvest times, the cycle of the school year, all those traditional seasonal festivals like Christmas or May Day. They shape everything.
They really do. It's the whole calendar.
What is it about that nature-dictated rhythm that resonates so much, even today, beyond just, simple nostalgia?
Well, I think it speaks to a really fundamental way of living, doesn't it? A connection to the land and its cycles that was once, well, universal.
Mm-hmm.
And crucially, Miss Read, she doesn't romanticize it completely. She doesn't shy away from the tough realities, poverty, loneliness, illness, even death. It's all there.
Right, it's not just roses round the door.
Not at all. But these things, they aren't presented as like crushing blows. They're buffered somehow by that strong sense of community and just the quiet persistence of daily life. How do you think she manages that, weaving in those tougher bits without losing that gentle tone?
That's a great question, and it's where her masterful touch really shines, I think. She grounds the narrative in those quiet struggles, acknowledges them but doesn't dwell, makes the world feel both pastoral and practical at the same time.
That's a good way to put it. Pastoral and practical.
And right at the heart of this world, observing it all, is Miss Read herself, the narrator. Single, middle-aged schoolmistress, both a participant and a really keen observer, isn't she?
Absolutely. Her narrative voice is just beautiful, full of humor, a quiet humility, an incredibly keen eye for detail. And you get these lovely glimpses of her personality, too. Her deep love for literature, her thoughtfulness, that introversion, but also resilience and a deep, abiding compassion for everyone.
And being a teacher, she really stands at the intersection of every family in the village, doesn't she?
She does. It's the perfect viewpoint.
Through her eyes, we see not just the children, but their parents, grandparents, the whole social background. It's such a unique way to build this multi-layered portrait of a community.
It really is.
And what's particularly striking, I think, is how her singleness is portrayed. It's never seen as a lack or something to be pitied.
You're absolutely right. Her life is incredibly full. Visiting friends, having tea with neighbors, reading, gardening, these quiet, unspoken companionships that clearly nourish her.
Yeah.
It's presented as a rich, self-sufficient lifestyle, which, quietly challenges those traditional societal expectations for women, especially back then.
It does. Her independence, the fulfillment she finds outside marriage, it's subtle, but it's a powerful statement in the narrative.
Definitely.
Now, speaking of powerful statements, we absolutely have to talk about Mrs. Pringle.
Oh, Mrs. Pringle. Yes.
She is just an absolute force of nature, the school cleaner. Perpetually grumbling, physically quite formidable, and just prone to taking offense, especially with Miss Read.
Always taking offense.
But underneath all that bluster, you sense this fierce loyalty to her work and to Miss Read, really. What makes their dynamic so compelling? and often so funny.
Well, the abrasive humor is definitely part of it. That sharp tongue, the stubborn streak. And she's always complaining, isn't she? Like she carries the weight of the world on her shoulders.
Totally.
Her battles with the school stove or the children's muddy boots. They provide this unexpected comedy, but they also hint at maybe deeper vulnerabilities.
That's true. And then there's what you call the housekeeping war.
Yes.
Yeah.
A housekeeping war. It's brilliant.
It's one of my favorite recurring things. You've got Miss Reed's modest, lived-in-home books, and gardens are the priority, right? Versus Mrs. Pringle's uncompromising standards for domestic order.
Total opposite.
You can just picture Mrs. Pringle's withering look at the scuffed lino or her muttered remark about some people's standards. It's this quiet commentary on pride, class, different values, isn't it?
It truly is. And despite all the bristliness, their dynamic settles into this rhythm, a sort of grudging companionship.
Yeah.
Miss Reed tolerates the lectures Mrs. Pringle never stops giving them. And it reflects a key theme, I think, that a well-lived life doesn't actually need spotless perfection.
That's a great point.
It's a wonderful reminder that relationships can be complex, built on friction and affection, and still be really enduring.
And it's through Miss Reed's work with the children that we really get to see the daily pulse of Fairacre, don't we?
Yes, definitely.
They cycle through the school year after year, marking the village's changes, but also its constants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a standout example of that impact, you have to mention Joseph Coggs.
Oh, yes. Joseph.
He comes from this struggling family, unstable home life. And initially, he's withdrawn, unkept.
Yeah.
But you see him just flourish under Miss Reed's patient encouragement. He even stays in the schoolhouse for a bit, doesn't he?
He does.
It's such a powerful testament to the transformative impact of, well, personal care and education, how it can really redeem and shape a young life.
It really shows her dedication. Now, moving beyond the village slightly, Miss Reed has a really important friend, Amy.
Ah, Amy.
She represents a bit of the cosmopolitan contrast, you could say. Lives in Bent, near Caxley, which sounds a bit more bustling.
A bit more worldly, perhaps.
Yeah.
She's well-read, opinionated, modern, brings this wonderful blunt humor to their friendship.
How does Amy challenge Miss Reed, then, to see beyond Fairacre's boundaries?
Well, Amy's often insisting Miss Reed take holidays. That leads to adventures, like the trip to Crete and farther afield. So she genuinely encourages Miss Reed to see beyond the village, which raises an interesting point, doesn't it? About how friendships can broaden our horizons, gently challenge our comfort zones, even if we resist a bit at first.
Yeah, that push and pull.
Yeah.
And Amy has this recurring, kind of lighthearted project to find Miss Reed a husband.
She does. She just can't understand it.
She's just baffled by her friend's contentment with being single. And this dynamic, it gently explores those societal expectations of women and how, you define your own version of fulfillment. It's subtle, but really meaningful for the time.
Very much so. Now, the school itself, it's undeniably the nucleus of the series, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's where village events happen, concerns get aired, identities are formed, often despite having very few resources.
The hub.
The central nervous system, really. And Miss Reed's educational insights are some of the most thoughtful parts. She critiques, increasing centralization, bureaucracy, the marginalization of village schools.
She does have quite strong views on that.
But she also celebrates the resilience of rural teachers and the sheer joy of watching young minds grow. It's an interesting balance, that critique and celebration.
It absolutely is. And we also see generational depth within the school. You've got characters like Miss Clare, Miss Reed's elderly wise predecessor.
Beloved Miss Clare.
Provides quiet counsel, represents a sort of bygone era of teaching as a vocation. And then there's Miss Briggs, her idealistic young assistant. They add important layers to the school's dynamic, its evolution.
That's true. It gives it history. And beyond the school, Fairacre boasts this rich mosaic of village characters. They really bring the community to life. You have Mr. and Mrs. Willett, the cheerful, steady handyman and caretaker, and his capable, kind wife, who's a master baker, apparently.
The backbone, as you said earlier. Very steadying figures.
Yeah. And then there's the Reverend Gerald Partridge, humble, humorous, local vicar, very different from the often pompous clergy you get in other fiction.
He's genuinely pastoral, isn't he? With this endearing humility.
Definitely. And we also have Mr. and Mrs. Annett. Mr. Annett, the widowed headmaster from the next village, Beech Green, choir leader.
Right, and he marries Miss Isabel Gray.
Miss Reed's colleague and friend. And their union, it's just this gentle, joyful development. Miss Reed even becomes godmother to their son, Malcolm.
It represents that quiet emotional growth, continuity within the community,
Hmm.
linking the schools, the families.
Yeah, these threads connecting everyone.
And each of these villagers, in their own way, contributes to that everyday tapestry, whether they're helping out in a crisis or, bickering good-naturedly over church flowers.
Or debating the village signpost.
Exactly. All those little things that make up village life.
It's striking, too, how Miss Reed structures the novels around the turning of the year. Spring brings daffodils, school inspections, summer holidays, and gardening.
Autumn means harvest. Winter, the Christmas concert, and bitter weather.
This cyclical structure, it isn't just background noise, is it? It reinforces themes of continuity, renewal, belonging.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And what's compelling is how weather isn't just backdrop. It's like a subtle emotional barometer and a structural rhythm, too.
How so?
Well, storms might mirror some quiet unrest. Rainy days bring introspection. Snowfall provides hardship, yes, but also beauty.
Right.
And Miss Reed's descriptions, they're never over the top, but they are so exact. You feel the crunch of frost. You hear the window pane battering in the wind. Smell the rain on dry soil.
Yeah, those sensory details. They draw you right into this attentively lived world.
They really do.
So what does this all mean for the bigger picture? Ultimately, the weather serves as this gentle metaphor for life itself, maybe. Ever-changing, sometimes turbulent, often beautiful, always shared.
And a reminder that, like nature, the village endures.
Mm-hmm.
This ties directly into those enduring themes that run right through the Fairacre books.
Yeah.
There's that balance of tradition versus change.
Right.
Miss Reed clearly values rituals. Maypole dancing, village fetes, the school Christmas playthings that bind communities, even as slow, inevitable change happens around them.
And she champions the value of simplicity, doesn't she?
Oh, absolutely. An uncluttered life, focused on nature, relationships, work, where happiness is often found in, a tended garden or a good book.
It's a gentle, constant reminder of what truly matters, maybe, in the grand scheme.
And critically, there's the theme of human complexity. Nobody in Fairacre is wholly good or bad.
No saints or sinners, really.
Exactly. People are contradictory, generous one moment, petty the next. And this enduring realism, this sense that everyone's a mix of light and shade, that's part of what makes the book so relatable, so timeless.
So after this deep dive, why does Fairacre still matter today? In our world of, accelerating change, digital overload, social fragmentation, these novels offer more than just a nostalgic refuge, surely.
I think they do. They remind us that small things matter.
Mhm.
Kindness,
Right.
duty, shared history, resilience in the face of life's inevitable storms.
Yeah.
And Fairacre isn't some utopia. As people struggle, they age, they make mistakes, but they do it with dignity. And always seen through Miss Reed's warm, observant gaze.
So it's not an escape from reality, but maybe a way to see reality more clearly through the lens of compassion, humor, and grace, as the source put it. It offers a quiet comfort, a gentle understanding.
Indeed. And maybe for you, our listener, here's a thought to mull over as you go about your day.
Okay.
In your own life, where do you find those quiet, enduring rhythms? The ones that truly define your sense of place and purpose, even amidst all the noise?